Welcome to Conservative Roundtable. My name is John Estrada. Today we're going to have a very, very good guest calling in from Tijuana, Mexico. They're going to be talking about deported veterans. His name is Hector Barajas, and he is a deported veteran. So we'll be able to have the complete story on that, on how the whole story is and what it's all about. But while we're waiting for him to call in, which he should be calling in any minute, we will talk basically about politics and why it's very vital that if you haven't registered to vote, you're running out of time, go down and get your name registered to vote, because this is going to be such a very vital, important election. This election is going to be deciding the fate of America, and we cannot afford to be shortchanged, or we cannot afford to go back to a very bad time. We got to be able to move forward and have America great again. And the best way to do that is to go out there, register to vote, and vote for Donald Trump for president. Donald Trump, make America great again. My name is John Estrada. If you need to get in touch with me regarding sponsorship or advertisement, you can contact me at 559-803-0555. That's 559-803-0555. This is pretty amazing that this election has turned into such a negative, chaotic election. You have Republicans totally attacking one another, trying to get everybody going against Donald Trump. And be independent, be bold, go out there and vote for him, because he will be the best person for the job. We know what you get with Hillary Clinton. You get a person that is two-faced. She has a private position. She's got a public position. And it's very important that we have a straight shooter, somebody that talks to us the way, not politically correct. It may not be the best language, but it gets the point across. We have to do something. We have to make America safe again. You know, we can't afford to have terrorists come in here and hurt Americans. We cannot afford to have our military or anybody be hurt overseas. And so the best way for that to happen is it's for us to elect Donald Trump for president. So we're just waiting right now on Hector Barajas to call in. He should be calling in any moment. And so let me just send him a text if he hasn't gotten it. And hopefully he does get the message right away and he calls. My name is John Estrada, Conservative Roundtable. The big thing right now is we're going to ask Hector about U.S. military veterans being deported from the United States of America. And we want to go over the different aspects, the law, how did it happen. We want to hear his personal story. Anyway, Hector says that he's trying to call in, but the line is busy. So something's going on here that the line is busy or it's not connected.
What number he calling?
The number, the 702 number that I gave him before. The 983-0711.
Here.
783-983-0711.
I don't know about that.
Is there another number to call him?
Well, no.
Can he call?
No,
Can he?
it's the other one.
Is there another number where he can call in?
No, this is a number.
Okay.
Okay, tell her to try again.
Okay.
See it flashing over there, look. Like it's...
Yeah, that's because it's a message.
Oh, okay.
Okay, here we go. We're going to try again.
Yeah.
All right, there we go. We just sent him a message to try again. So hopefully that works. But anyway, we're going to talk his personal story. We want to find out about deported veteran organizations. We want to basically... All right, no, I push this middle button right here.
Yeah.
Hello? Hector? Hector?
Hey, good afternoon. This is calling in now.
Okay, Hector, welcome. I'm glad that we're able to fix the problem here and get you to call in. Hector, thank you for calling in to Conservative Roundtable. We're really happy to have you to give us some background on why this is happening, why U.S. military veterans are being deported from America. And the best way for us to do that is if you can basically tell us the law. Why is that happening? What is the current law? How can the American government basically deport U.S. military veterans?
Sure, sounds good. And are we on live right now, or
we're on live?
Yeah, waiting.
So you are on live, and it's you can go ahead and go and start talking. We're ready.
Sure. Well, basically, there was a change in the 1996 law where they took away the discretion of judges as to who could be deported. And in 1996, basically anybody that was not a U.S. citizen could be deported for what's considered an aggravated felony. Unfortunately, an aggravated felony sounds pretty bad, but it could be anywhere from writing a bad check to DUIs to domestic violence. There's just a wide variety of crimes that a person could be deported for. And what the judges used to do before is they would take into consideration, okay, well, this guy served in the military, we're going to give him an opportunity to stay in this country and fix his situation and maybe become a U.S. citizen. So that's what happened in 1996, and most of these guys most of these guys volunteered in the U.S. Armed Forces. Some were drafted back during the Vietnam War, and during the war they actually drafted a lot of people that were undocumented. So by law, in order to volunteer, you have to have a legal status. But if we declare war like we declared war on Germany back in World War, in the Great War, what they call the Great Wars, they could draft anybody that lives in the United States. But currently, the law is that you have to have a legal status. But if there is a war, we could draft anybody that lives in the country because they need the manpower. So that's what happened in 1996, and we're trying to change the laws.
Okay, and so before we get into what we're going to do to help solve this problem, you have a very, very personal story, and can we hear your story, what happened to you? Because I think if our listeners and America listens to you, what happened to you, then I think it means a lot more for people to truly understand. Because for me, I've been following this issue now for about a year and a half, maybe 2 years. I don't know how long it's been now, but you do have a very incredible personal story. And Hector, please tell us your story, how this happened. You could talk about start with how you went into how you were able to get into the service, and once you did serve America, then what happened after that. That'd be great.
Sure. Well, basically, I came at a young age to the United States. I didn't have a choice. My parents brought me over here. Eventually, I became a legal resident, and I grew up in the United States like any other kid. Went to high school, elementary, middle school. We gave honors to the flag, pledge of allegiance. I went to D.C. when I was in middle school. And to me that was, we're visiting, our capital. I believe that the United States is my country, and I grew up thinking nonetheless, and I decided to join at the age of 17 for many reasons, not just for because I wanted to serve my country, but because I was promised citizenship, because I wanted to get away from my environment. I wanted to get a GI Bill, so I served for various reasons. And I served in the U.S. Army from 1995 to 2001, re-enlisted in 99. Decided to volunteer again when I joined the military and joined the 82nd Airborne. Went through some training. Served during wartime and peacetime. I did not serve in combat, but I always tell people I put my life on the line jumping out of perfectly good airplanes. I didn't have to take an extra risk, but I did it because duty, honor, and country is what pushed me to do all these other things, and because I like being airborne as well, and wearing the beret and serving with my brothers and sisters. So that was the reasons why I joined, and I think to this day it was probably one of the most productive years in my life. During that time, also the work that I'm doing now I consider very important. But during that time, I'm very proud of my service, and it was almost 6 years of my life that I wore the uniform, that I served my country, and got out with honorable discharge. And shortly after when I finished the service, I had problems with alcohol and drugs, and was in an incident where a weapon was fired from a vehicle, and I served a 3-year prison sentence with half, which landed me in my current situation, and that's why I'm deported. And during that time, it was a deportable offense. Now, we can argue that it's not deportable anymore, and that's one of the reasons why I have a citizenship interview next month, and I'm hoping that the authorities will allow me to cross into the United States to San Diego, California, November 18th, so I can see a judge and maybe become a U.S. citizen.
Well, Hector, it sure seems to me that you are documented. You've been documented for a long time, and it seems like my own personal feeling is that once a person that is not a citizen of the United States but serves in the U.S. military and gets an honorable discharge, I think that they should get automatic citizenship. It's just absurd to me that if you create a criminal act after you've served America, somehow that you would basically be kicked out.
Sure. And so there were a couple of executive orders that came down from President George Bush and Clinton that there should have been expedited citizenship. So one of the things that we've seen is that the soldier failed to make sure that, when you agree to a contract, when you sign a contract, you make sure that, hey, wait a minute, I need to make sure I'm a U.S. citizen. But also the military dropped the ball, and people say, well, you made your bed, now you're lying in it, you should have got your citizenship. But if most of us recall when we were in the military, Uncle Sam was mom and dad. Most of us were fresh out of high school and 17, 18 years old, and really sometimes the last thing on your mind is, well, I need to make sure I get my citizenship, or I already have it, or I have this, this paperwork. You're just thinking about completing the mission and going to the field. And if you're going to Iraq, your mind is in the sandbox and taking care of the guy to your left or right. Or if you're being sent to Vietnam, you're worried about making sure you come home alive. And the last thing that you think of is citizenship. So we feel that there was a failure on the military and the individual, and we do feel that it should have been automatic. Unfortunately, it's not, and unfortunately, there's not a lot of education on that, so we need to educate people that it's not automatic, and, that most people don't know that if there's a war right now, whether you're illegally or illegally, you're still going to get sent to war. So we're trying to change those laws. And
well, now that you're talking about the laws and stuff, there is this idea that there is a bill in Congress right now that you're supporting. Talk a little bit about that bill. What would that bill that is supported by, I guess it's a congressman out of Texas. Go ahead, why don't you talk about that bill?
Okay, so the bill that we have is actually out of Arizona, Congressman Grijalva, which is H.R. 5695. And the reason, there's a couple other bills that are out there, but that's the one that's more, that would bring most of the men home. And it basically, if you didn't serve over a 3-year prison sentence, if you have an honorable discharge. So it's very specific to, as far as the people that would be able to return. Of course, it's just in the House right now, and we only had about 18 co-sponsors, I believe, so we probably need to revive it next year, and hopefully we'll have more people to come on board. But we encourage people to call their congressmen and to support this bill and to help make this wrong right, because we feel that veterans shouldn't be deported. It's just it's crazy, and people sometimes call us criminals and all these things. Well, you know what? I believe that at one point we did make a mistake. We committed a crime, but just because you committed one action doesn't make you a criminal for the rest of your life.
Well, let me just add on to that criminal. We now have a veterans court in America. There are many veterans courts in different counties throughout America. And I truly believe we need a federal veterans court, basically to assist some of these issues that we're talking about. Veterans that have served in the military, some of them have got a lot of mental illnesses, such as post-traumatic stress disorder, or some kind of stress, or depression. There's various things that happen that, military is the number one stressful occupation in the world. And so when you get discharged, not everybody thinks, most people that get discharged come out thinking that they're okay. But there are those that aren't okay, and they happen to get into criminal situations, whether it be alcohol or drugs or whatever it is, and they do stupid things. And so here we have good Americans that are now land themselves into a criminal system, but they're still veterans.
Sure. And that's one of the things that most of these veterans never went through is veterans courts. So had some of these men and women got through veterans courts, they might not even be in a situation where they might be deported, because they might have not gone to jail and they would have gotten some sort of treatment. And I'm also a firm believer that if you do commit a crime, you should go to jail. So most of these men did serve the prison sentence, but now we're seeing that, because of some of the trauma and because of some of the combat these men and women have seen, it does make them, it does give them, make them, they make the wrong decisions. They sometimes turn to alcohol. They become homeless. And that leads to maybe a robbery and all these different things. So I think it's a good idea that it's a first-time offense that they look at in this individual's case, and he's been through all this, and let's give an opportunity to maybe go to some anger management, to some domestic violence classes, to some drug rehabilitation instead of sending the person to jail. Well, most of these veterans serve their prison sentences. This is not even a get out of jail card for them. They serve their time, and we believe that they should be allowed to return back to the United States and continue their treatment and live out the rest of their lives with their families and with their VA benefits, and to become productive members of society, because not all of them have been continuous criminals, as somebody might point out. They just, they made one bad mistake. And
well, I don't think people are born criminals. I just don't subscribe to that. Things happen, situations happen, and if you do your time, you're regretful, or you have remorse on what you've done, and now you've changed your life around. I think America is very forgiving for some people that have caused a problem in the past. What Americans don't like is repeat bad behavior, and
sure.
As long as a person is willing to change their life and get back on track, that's another story. I would say that in this new bill that you're going to have changed in the future, I think there should be some additions to that bill, and basically a federal veterans court, I think, would be vital. That because a lot of veterans that do go to veterans court today, what happens is that if they do everything that's required of them, that case is dismissed against them.
Exactly. And I think that might even, maybe even a special court for, and me personally, I believe no veteran should be deported regardless.
Well, yeah, and I'm
doing a special court within immigration to look at the individual cases, and see if there has been, there's PTSD, if there,
Yeah.
And, that's something to think about as well. Me personally, I think we should leave no man or woman behind.
Well, I'm with you. I'm with you on that all the way, and that's really the mission here. My mission, and the mission of a lot of us is that we want to bring you home. You have a family. You have your daughter. You have a very personal story that needs to be told. I mean, it's a big toll that you're living out of the country and your family's living in America. Now, there is one way that you can come back with no problems, and to me, that's pretty incredible. Why don't you tell about how you can come back?
Sure. Well, basically, if I get hit by a bus tomorrow, like some of the men that we have, especially the older men, the Vietnam era veterans, if they have Agent Orange and disabilities that because of their service, if they die tomorrow, they can be taken back to the United States. If they wish, they can have a full military service. That means a 21 gun salute, a flag, an American flag will be draped over their coffin. It will be given to their family, and somebody will more than likely say the words, "Thank you for your service." They could even be buried in Arlington West if there's space for them. So I think that's a tragedy that it's ironic that only in death is there any honor. A lot of I think in general, a lot of veterans are pushing for us to be treated rightly, to be treated the same, and all these men have the same right and opportunity to be treated in the United States by the VA, to live with their families, and that's how we should honor people.
Well, let me ask you this. Some of these veterans, these U.S. military veterans, that are not being treated by the VA today, the Department of Veterans Affairs, because they don't have access to medical care. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Sure. So when I first got deported, I thought you do lose your Social Security, which is crazy because that's money that we put that's our money. But that's another clause that we lose. But we thought that we lost our VA benefits in that. In a sense, it is the case. But what happened is every time we would get appointments, they say, yes, you're eligible, but they would make our appointments in the United States. So it took me 3 years after somebody told me, well, file anyways. And I filed, and it took me 3 years to finally get a CMP exam in Mexico, and I'm just waiting for a decision to see if I have any compensation available. And of course, what's going to happen is I still can't go to the VA if I'm still deported, but at least I'll have some monetary compensation, and I will get treated for those specific service-connected disabilities that the VA deems that I am service-connected. If I was in the United States, I could just walk into a VA and get seen for a common cold, but that's not the case for the men that live outside of the United States.
So basically, their lives could be cut short by not getting the proper medical treatment.
Exactly, and we're trying to find ways that maybe they'll grant us some paroles. We recently asked USCIS, or the Department of Homeland Security, to grant us humanitarian parole so we can see our doctors, and we were denied. So we're still in the waiting line, just like everybody else.
Well,
kind of do what we can to get back home.
One thing that I think is pretty impressive is your leadership in your drive to not only help yourself but other deported veterans. Why don't you talk a little bit about your organization and what you do there, and so we know there is an organized effort that you're taking care of deported veterans.
Sure. So one of the things that we decided to do is, well, I took initiative to open up the bunker, and initially it was just a shelter, and we become more of a resource center. We work with the ACLU. They find pro bono attorneys depending on the individual's case. We also work with filing for their VA benefits, for their medical records, service records. We're working with legislators. We're a drop-off center for donations. We don't get a lot, but when we do, we give them out to the men that need it. And we're at the end of the day, we're a place for anybody that's deported can stay here for a certain time. And right now we have a gentleman upstairs who served in the Vietnam War who was deported, and he doesn't have any place to go, so he'll probably be here for the rest of his life until we can get him hopefully a pension. If he gets his pension, he'll be okay, but if he doesn't get his pension, he has nowhere to go. He has no family, so he'll probably be here for, God willing, we'll keep this place open as long as possible. But that's what we do, and we want to encourage the men to try to establish themselves wherever they're at. They get deported. We don't know when the laws are going to change, so we always try to help them find resources for work, and so they can establish their roots here.
And you have, if somebody in America wanted to help you out, help deported veterans, what would they do? Who would they contact?
Sure, so there's a Facebook page, Deported Veteran Support House, we call it The Bunker. Then we have a website, deportedveteransupporthouse.org, where they can contact us through you. There's many ways you can help. You can volunteer. We're right across the border. Somebody wants to come and help, they can volunteer. They can volunteer their time. If they want to donate, because we're not a well-funded organization. We're still grassroots, and we can always use donations. The men can always use hygiene kits. One of the most important things is we're also running a campaign with the ACLU, and there's a website for it called dischargedthendeported.org. Sign the pledge so you can get updates on all the actions and everything that we got going on, and help us get some legislation like H.R. 5695, as well as maybe get an executive order before Obama leaves, if it's possible. If not, whoever is president in the next election, well, we're hoping that he or she can help bring our deported veterans home.
Well, let me get to the presidential election. You have, or the different members of deported veterans have been trying to get through to different presidential candidates. Tell me, how has that gone? Whose attention did you get, and whose attention do you need to get? Hello? Hector? I think we lost your call, Hector. This is John Estrada with Conservative Roundtable, and I think we've lost our guest. Is there something I have to do here?
He went off. He probably got disconnected.
Oh, here he comes. Right here?
Yeah.
Okay, you're back? Hector? Hello, Hector?
There we go. We got disconnected for a bit there.
Yeah, I know. I was talking, and we were just talking about the presidential election, and wanted to get your input on that status. What happened? Who have you contacted, and who's listened to your calls for bringing deported veterans home, and who needs to be contacted on your behalf?
Sure. So one of the things with what we've been doing is, and I think anywhere in the world, is that it's on who you know. If you don't have those contacts, it's hard to reach to those people up in the higher echelon. and it's been very difficult to reach out to try to get to those people. I know the Brothers Valenzuela tried to reach out to Trump, and they weren't successful in that, and they were just at a rally, and it's kind of, of course, it's going to be difficult to reach out to anybody like that. Hillary was asked as well what she would do about deported veterans, and she didn't really touch on it. She just said we need to look into veterans being deported, and that was kind of basically the answer. The only person that we've had that actually mentioned anything at all, and that was Bernie Sanders, who actually didn't take out the time to meet me specifically, but was at the border, and I was able to meet him, and he did thank me for my service and told me that he thought that I should be on the other side of the border, and he mentioned us on his presidential immigration reform. So he did openly talk about bringing us home, and so the other two candidates haven't expressed anything about deported veterans as far as bringing them home.
Well, I know, as you know, I am supporting Donald Trump for president, and I am personally going to send this broadcast to his office so that they know the issue for my point. I do support you coming home immediately, all deported veterans coming home immediately, because I think it's part of the most shameful behavior that our American government is doing in recent time. I think it's just outrageous. If somebody serves in the United States military, gets an honorable discharge, it's sort of, they should be grandfathered into, or that should be a document good enough to be a citizen. So I do definitely support that. Go ahead.
And I wanted to point out that this is something that I believe should be a bipartisan issue when it comes to deported veterans, and really a lot of issues. I think there's a lot of things that everybody should agree on, but unfortunately, that's how life is. Really. There's differences in everything, every aspect of life.
Politics is complex.
Exactly. But to get us home, that's what it's going to take. It's going to take a bipartisan vote in legislation, or it's going to have to take somebody who can make an executive order, and that could be your president. But
your whole time you've been contacting Obama's administration. What is their main concern? Why is it that they don't want to? Because supposedly they have sanctuary cities here in America. They have a lot of mechanisms where they're bringing refugees in without vetting them. There's a lot of mechanisms to bring. In fact, I think they've allowed a lot of illegals to cross over. At least that's what I'm told and what I see. So why is it that you are held to a higher standard by staying out of the country, and you actually participated for many years in the American lifestyle?
Yeah, you know what, and I'm not exactly, like I said, I think for some reason it's not known to most people, and I believe that, well, I know for a fact that the White House administration knows that what's going on. Now, does President Obama know? I can't,
Okay, so you've never had any time, have you ever wrote him a letter? Has anybody ever communicated to his office?
We've had people try to communicate with his office, but it always gets to a certain point where administration and, normally he probably gets millions or hundreds of thousands of letters or people reaching out to him. And so one of the things that we have going on right now for us is the ACLU, which is a very strong organization, and they've been able to meet with White House. But before it was just kind of, us and a couple of people trying to get to the higher echelons, and it's very different. It sounds easy.
Well, no, I know that I've seen a lot more attention in recent time. You're getting a lot of good media presence. You've had some really good broadcasts. You're really a master at putting that information out, and I think that the word's definitely getting to a lot more people. And we just can't give up on this. We just got to keep moving until it happens. And I am hopeful that a president wakes up. If this president does not wake up, definitely hope the next president does it rather quickly and bring you guys home, because I think I wouldn't like to see another deported veteran die outside of America and not get the care that they deserve. You know, I'm a strong advocate for veterans. And, you know, even if you're a foreigner and you serve in our military, I even advocate and support those individuals that are foreigners and support America.
And, you know, unfortunately, there's been 3 administrations, Bush and Obama, so I don't blame any particular administration. I think, well, I know, you know, there's Congress people that know, and they could go to the White House and to the president, hey, you know, this is going on, and it hasn't been done. And I think hopefully we get the right. You know, if it were up to me, if I was up there in some, you know, in some type of position where I can talk to the president, I would have done it. You know, but you know, it's just politics, and it's how things work, and hopefully putting pressure and getting more people to find out what's going on, and you know, a forum like this and any media that we do, any polls, they reach to the right people, and it's starting to grow. So I'm positive, and I think America's a great country.
Well, you sound American to me, 100%. You know, I truly also believe that what, from your perspective, because you have all the facts, you understand this whole process. What needs to be done now? What would you encourage America to do, or Americans to do? What needs to be done next?
They need to start calling their congressmen, and we hope that the president, once he knows that you know he needs to make that decision and make an executive order. And you know, from my personal experience, you know, we need as people, we need to keep changing within ourselves. We need to keep pushing ourselves to be better people. I keep trying because I'm not perfect, and that's what's going to make, you know, like as Donald Trump puts it, make America great again. That's going to make America better, our country better. It's never been perfect, but we can always strive to make it better, and it comes from within, and then we try it from the outside, and that we have to change our Congress, we have to change our senators. That's what we got to do, but we have to keep trying to make an effort to make things change. I know it seems impossible, but that's what we have to do. And I think the United States is not perfect, but it's a whole lot better than anywhere else.
That's true. You know, I never look back. I have a motto that I say the best moment is now. And so that's really where I focus on, the now. But, you know, we're lucky and very fortunate to have the publisher and founder of the Las Vegas Tribune here with us. He just came on in. His name's Rolando Lares, and he wants to ask a few questions, Hector, to you. And I think he's really, when I told him about what was going on here, he wanted to sit in and talk with you for a few minutes and ask you some very important questions, because I really think that Rolando's the kind of guy that writes the truth. Good, bad, or ugly, he writes the truth, and I think this is a story that needs to be told, and he has the ability to put it out. And, you know, he's the only newspaper in America at this point in time that has endorsed Donald Trump for president. So if I can bring the Trump administration and you together, I'd be a happy camper. But here he is, Rolando Lares.
Hi, Hector. How are you?
Good afternoon. I'm doing great.
Okay. The only thing I don't like about you, Hector, is that you speak English better than I do. You don't even have an accent. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to go in the service, because they have a course for people that don't speak English, so they can teach them how to speak English good. But my question is, how long did you live in the United States before you joined the service?
I was 7 years old, so I must have been 10 years, about 10 years, yeah.
You lived 10 years over here, and then you joined so you didn't come here with the idea to join the service just to get your paperwork.
No, I grew up going to high school and everything else, and then I just decided, this is something I want to do.
Okay. How many people are in the same boat that you are? How many?
We think we have hundreds on our database, but we think it's in the, definitely in the thousands.
And they all like you? They was raised here, and they joined the army or the service?
The majority of them, some of them were longer in the United States, 20, 20 years. It just depends on when the guy served. Some guys were, especially the Vietnam vets, some of them had barely gotten to the United States, and the draft came, and they were sent away to Vietnam.
So there's actually people that were drafted into the United States military. They served their time, and then they got their honorable discharge or whatever, and then they ran into a criminal situation, and then they were deported.
Yeah, so there were guys that were here. They came to Mexico. They came from Mexico to the United States. Didn't even know English, and they were here for like a year or two, and then Vietnam came along, and they were drafted, and they was either you go to war, or you either get deported, because they could have said, well, I'm not going to Vietnam, and they would just got deported to Mexico. But they did go to Vietnam, finished their service, and then came back to the United States, thought they were citizens or didn't get their citizenship, and they were here for 50-something years, 40-something years, and then they were deported.
Oh, so you're going as far back as Vietnam War. That's a long time.
Exactly.
And this kind of things has been happening since then.
No.
Yes, and I think
it was 1996. But there's persons that got in trouble after 1996 and then was deported. Is that correct, Hector?
Well, no. This law is actually retroactive. So let's say you have a guy that served in Vietnam in the Vietnam War, came out, got in trouble. Let's say went to LA County Jail for 6 months in the 1970s. Never got in trouble again, but because the law is retroactive, even though he may have committed a crime in the 70s, they started going back into the records and actually deporting people that committed crimes 20, 30 years ago.
But they actually started deporting U.S. military veterans in 1996 and this way.
Yeah, it became more, it was more of a law in 1996, but there's a couple of very few but rare occasions when it did happen back before that. But yeah, 1996 would be the...
What kind of crime did you commit?
I went to prison for a discharge of a firearm in 2001, and I served a prison sentence of almost 3 years.
For discharging a firearm? That can be that much?
What happened to the Second Amendment? That's
and again, it was a deportable offense back then. Now it's not. So I'm actually in the process of citizenship because the courts ruled that it's no longer a deportable offense. And I could go into details about the situation, but because I'm in the process of citizenship, they told me not to talk about it until after. So.
No, I just wonder if every one of those people that are in your group is because they have committed a crime in the United States?
Yes.
That's a deportable offense. If you don't have citizenships, you're deported. Now, if the deported veterans went to a sanctuary city, would they? Because for one way, on sanctuary cities, they basically protect illegals from any kind of problems. Is that what I hear?
No, if you are in a sanctuary city, even if you're undocumented, they can still deport you. I don't think there's no. At least I don't think it would work even in a sanctuary city.
If they want to, they can deport you. Yeah, because there's a couple of people in San Francisco that have not been deported, and they committed murder, not just a crime.
Sure.
But
I don't think the locals and the feds are working too close together in sanctuary cities. I think that's what the issue is there.
Well, we hope that we can help a little bit with this with your situation, and that's why I was wondering how many people are in your organization, because everyone might be a different story, but I think no matter what the story is, you all have the right. My only concern, Hector, was that the people can come over here, get into the service just to get paperwork, or just to be infiltrated in the United States. But if you live here most of your life and everyone in the group is the same way, I'm sure that that's not the case. And right now we are living a very dangerous era in this country, and my concern was that enemies could join the army or the service in general and become a target and become
a terrorist,
dangerous to us. But the way you mention it, you guys went to school here and everything else, so that's not the case. I'm glad to hear that. And
mostly everybody joined to serve their country, and even if they did serve...
So in their mind, they're already Americans.
Yeah, and if they did serve to join to get their citizenship, they're still thinking about being Americans, not to terrorize the country.
Right. That was my only concern. So we are going to try to work together with John Estrada and see what we can write about it, and call an alert to the right people to do something for you guys.
Well, the last Friday we had a representative of Donald Trump in Nevada come to the program and talk with us. And rest assured that once his broadcast is over, it is being recorded. We'll get this copy of this tape to him, and I'll ask him to personally get it to Donald Trump's office, so that he can get a position from Donald Trump regarding the deported veterans.
Well, I think we all should, like I said, we all should get behind this cause, regardless of what our political views, to bring these men home, and that's something that.
Well, yeah, this is. I agree with you 100%. This is an American issue. Everybody should be. I know every veteran that I've talked to really does care about this, and so the American GI Forum, as you remember, we pushed very hard, and the American GI Forum backed your position. And I think when, like you say, when people do hear about it, it's like they're amazed. How can this be happening in America?
Yeah, Hector, what is the age range?
Most of the guys that are being deported are I'd say that the majority are Vietnam veterans.
And let me ask you, are they all Mexicans?
Oh no, the majority of deportees are Mexicans. Then you have Dominican Republic, Canadians, 36 countries at the moment.
Wow. So we got people from 36 countries that are willing to serve the United States armed forces.
Well, from what I understand, they all were here in the United States before they enlisted into the United States military. Right. They served America, they got their discharge papers, and then sometime after that, they got in trouble with the law, and they were deported.
Like almost everyone, then come back from the service, from service tour. Most of the people that come back to the United States, most of the people that come back home from a tour, they always get in trouble. Either a small trouble or big trouble, because they come mentally.
The military is the most stressful occupation in the world. Are
they all in Mexico, or they all in their own countries?
They go back to their countries. A couple of guys have come close to the border because they have families close to here, but most of the guys went back to their respective country.
Let me ask you this. What would happen to you, Hector, if you said, forget the laws, I'm going home? What could they do to you?
Well, I'd end up in jail.
Okay, so you end up you'd be in an American jail? Is that what would happen?
I would go to a federal prison.
Okay, so you'd be in a federal prison. And then it would be a great sacrifice, because then you won't have your freedom anymore.
And
Then I get deported.
you will not,
I think I'll stay where I'm at.
and you will not have the opportunity to be able to fix your situation if you.
No, I want to do the things the right way. I tried that once and it didn't work out, so I'd rather just stay over here.
Okay.
Well, Hector, you have my total support. I'll do whatever I can do. You call me, contact me anytime. And, you have my heart in this issue. This is very dear to me, and I will do whatever it has to be done so that we get that out to every single politician, every single legislator, every person that has to be concerned about this. And we'll also send a copy of the tape to Obama, and maybe there's something could be done now.
How old is he?
How old are you, Hector?
39?
And it is very shameful that the Vietnam veterans, here they go again. They get the shaft every place around. They had very poor service with the VA. One out of every 4 homeless veteran in America today is a veteran. 1 out of every 4, but 50% of those are Vietnam veterans.
How long did he did in the service?
How long were you in the service, Hector?
5 years, 10 months.
5 years, 10 months. Good job.
You did a tour?
No.
Where were you stationed?
I was stationed at Fort Bragg, North Carolina with the 82nd Airborne.
Oh.
You jumped out of planes.
Yes.
That's a very dangerous occupation.
Well, before I leave, I got my appointment just got in. Before I leave, I wanted to thank you for your service to the country. I appreciate. I am not a veteran like John is, but I have a great respect for people that have served this country and the best of their ability to do what everybody should be doing. So I thank you very much for that service, and I'm going to try to work with John in your case so we can do something about it.
Rolando, thank you very much. I appreciate your time and all you do getting the truth out there. So I appreciate that. Well, it's been a great conversation. Is there anything that we left out that you need to say to our listeners and to America?
Well, nothing. Just if they want to support what we're doing, they can contact us, contact you, and.
Okay, well, go ahead and give your contact information again.
So again, so our website is deportedveteransupporthouse.org or Deported Veterans Support House. If they want to join the campaign with the ACLU, discharged, then deported.org, and of course they can just contact you directly to get our information.
Okay, well, thank you so much. I do appreciate everything you've done, and thank you for your service. And you deserve to be in America, and you deserve to be in America now. And we're going to work very hard to let all the powers to be, Democrat, Republican, Independent, every president now or in the future, we're not going to give up until we accomplish bringing you home. Hector,
all right, thank you guys. Have a great day.
And Hector, God bless you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your service too, John. Have a great one.
Bye-bye. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
All right. Well, that's been a wrap for Conservative Roundtable. We had a very, very good conversation with Hector Barajas and Deported Veterans, and we definitely will continue this mission until they come home. So I thank you, and God bless America. God bless all of us. Amen.